Southwest Airlines shares were up a little bit more than 2% today after the carrier announced that new bookings are outpacing cancellations. United Airlines also is seeing a moderate improvement in demand right now. Joining us now to talk more about all of this is Seth Kaplan, an aviation industry expert. Seth, it's always good to have you here. Obviously, we know the airline industry has just been devastated by this outbreak, but is this a sign that we may be starting to see things turn around?
It's something, an inflection point maybe. I mean, look, if 4 months ago I had told you that we would consider good news the idea that an airline is selling a little bit more in airline tickets than it's refunding, you wouldn't think that was all that good, right, Alex? But this is where we are. Right. And up until now, they actually have been pushing more money out than they were taking in. And so looking for any signs of a turnaround, this is one. Another thing I'm looking at, Alex, is how many flights they're operating as a percentage of those that they're operating a year ago. And some of these airlines finally seem to be operating more flights and scheduling more flights in the months to come. A tricky analysis, because one thing is what they schedule and another thing is what they actually fly. Sometimes they cancel them at the last minute, but signs anyway that they're flying more, which is another reason to think they see that there's more business for them to go after.
So, but Seth, how much of this little, increase that we're seeing in demand here from at least some of the airlines has to do with the fact that we're approaching the summer travel season when people tend to have time off and are going to want to go places anyway?
Yeah, and there was probably some pent-up demand for that, because typically those are trips that people book further in advance. Typically people book a month or two out. Here, Memorial Day travel, let's say, and yeah, that's what, a week and a half from now or something like that, right? Who even knows anymore?
Yeah,
normally that's something we'd all be focused on, and that's something people would have been booking in recent months. So you have, yes, some of that, absolutely. But at this point, everything is so different, and we're all just not taking a lot of the trips that we usually would, that any kind of good sign at all, regardless of the context, we have to take indeed as a sign of hope, albeit with all kinds of asterisks, right? Because these airlines are a long way from
absolutely. I mean, what if I'm in this boat, which I'm sure a lot of people are probably in, where they don't feel comfortable flying and getting on a plane at this juncture, but they feel like maybe somewhere down the road they might feel comfortable. Is now a good time to jump on and try to find some good deals for a trip that you might be taking well in advance?
Yeah, as long as you're okay laying out the money. And look, there are people right now with this financial situation that a lot of people are in with unemployment and so forth who just shouldn't be spending money on anything non-essential. But if you're okay laying out the money, knowing that you have the flexibility, you might not get the money back, but you'll be able to use it in the future. Yes, the best deals are going to happen before we know things are better, right? Once we've turned the corner and it's clear, that's when prices are already going to start going back up, because these airlines, by canceling so many flights, what they're doing is playing supply and demand economics, right? Travel demand is down, yeah, and if they didn't do anything about it, it would be practically free to travel, but they're trying to bring their flight levels down to a level where that supply is in line with current demand, and at some point they'll catch up, and airfares will start to go back up, even if not a lot of people are traveling. So probably not a bad time to book if you see a deal that looks too good to be true. Just keep in mind that you are kissing that goodbye, even though you'll get a voucher if you don't take the trip using it.
Yeah, it's important to remember that, of course. All right, we have to leave it there. Always good to have you on, Seth Kaplan, aviation industry expert. Thanks for doing it.
Likewise, always a pleasure.
All right, take care.